honest with you guys. I'm in a little bit of a reading slump at the moment, which I can kind of attribute to a single book, which I rarely can do, but I just feel like this book has been really dragging me down. And so this week, I'm hopefully going to be getting out of my reading slump, getting back to some reads that I love. Before we get started, if you are new to the channel, my name is Sophia. I make bookish content, mainly literary fiction and mystery thriller related, but a little bit of everything else. And I realized that I haven't done a weekly reading vlog in such a long time, and I really miss these videos. So I thought it would be fun to start one this week, see where it takes me. Anyways, the book that I alluded to in the intro of this video is very surprisingly The Hunter by Tana French. This is a book that I should be loving, and I'm just not. The first book in the series was The Searcher, which I really enjoyed. It's about a detective who used to work in Chicago, and for some not super fleshed out reasons, decided that he wanted to move to rural Ireland and get away from a lot of different aspects in his life. And of course, he is surrounded by murder when he does that. So the first book followed one murder, and then this book is also following a different murder. So basically in this one, there is a newcomer that comes into this small Irish town, and he is under the impression that there is a lot of gold. So he's kind of come with wealth on his mind, and it goes from there. I'm almost done with this one, actually. I'm on page 330 out of just over 450-ish. So I'm really nearing the end, but I have just found this so slow. And I know to expect that from Tana French books. I know she's much more of a character and a scene mystery writer rather than breakneck speed, but I don't know, not doing it for me. But I am going to persevere and finish this one. And then I'm a little bit in a few minds of where I want to go next with my reading this week. A couple things that I've been thinking about. First one is The Brutal Telling by Louise Penny. This is the next book for me in the Three Pines series, and it's been a while since I've dove back into this cozy-ish mystery series. Basically, this whole series is set in a very small town in Quebec called Three Pines, and this detective gets basically brought into a lot of different murder mysteries in the town or surrounding the people in the town. I really love these, but given that a mystery book has been making me slumpy, I'm just not sure that it's the moment. The other one is another mystery. It is the next Miss Marple, The Body in the Library. Adore this cover, by the way. And an Agatha Christie always gets me out of a reading slump. Just not sure if it's the right moment. Alternatively, I have a couple of pre-orders coming in the mail tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big release day, so I won't spoil that for you, but I'll kind of leave that as a question mark if I'm feeling those books when those packages come in. But for right now, I think today I'm just going to finish The Hunter, try and get through that, and maybe start fresh tomorrow and figure out what I want to read. It is currently Monday. I actually work tonight and tomorrow night, which I'm not the most thrilled about, but just 2 nights. So I have to head off to work at around 7 p.m. It's usually about a 12-hour shift. But then the rest of the week should be very chill. I don't have a lot of things going on, so hopefully some good time for reading. Given that this week has been chill, I have really been into exercising more recently. I feel that it's so good for my mental health, that endorphin rush after I get back from the gym just makes me really happy. And so I have been going to Orange Theory for about a year now, a little over a year. And so I have quite a few Orange Theory classes signed up for this week. And then also I'm planning to go to the pool a couple of times to swim. But a little wrinkle in my exercise routine is that I'm having a lot of issues with foot pain and back pain and knee pain. And I'm only 30. It's too early for that. So I'm attributing it to perhaps my running shoes might not be the best fit for me. So I'm going to go out today and actually try and get a new pair of running shoes, see if that helps the situation a little bit. So yeah, going to do that. Maybe come back and do a little bit of reading, go to the gym, go to nights. It's going to be a good week. So it's the next day. I made it through my first night shift, and it was actually really busy last night. We had a lot of things going on, but overall, solid night, and I did get some rest afterwards, so I'm feeling very revived. I had an appointment with the tax lady today, which is like my least favorite day of the year because it just stresses me out. So I'm glad that that is over with. And today is actually one of the nicest days of the year we've had so far. It is 60 degrees, sunny. It's a little bit windy, but not too windy. I almost actually got all of my berry bushes out of the garage and put them out, but I do think it's supposed to snow and get cold again. So I think I'm gonna hold off on that, but it's just like beautiful. I did actually cancel my plans to go to the swimming pool today, and instead I'm going to go for a really nice long walk, listen to an audiobook, just like enjoy the beautiful, beautiful weather we're having. Swimming, of course, is in the indoor pool. It's not warm enough to go outdoor, and so it's just kind of like, I mean, it's nice, but it's not enjoying the weather to the fullest. Oh, one other thing. I took my running shoes and my new insoles for a spin yesterday. Spin meaning a run. And I ended up going with the Hoka Bondi 9. I'll put them up on the screen with some Superfeet insoles. And I really liked them, actually. I didn't have any foot pain today, no back pain, although it's just one day, so hard to know. But I felt like I was like running on a cloud, which was just an experience that I've never had before, and I really, really enjoyed it. There was a couple of things about the Orange Theory class yesterday that were very chaotic and annoying. First was the playlist was ridiculous. It was like EDM versions of Mulan next to like Titanic, next to like Lil Jon. And also, there was one person at the gym who just like wanted to slam their weights and like show everybody that they had finished the exercise first. And I just hate that like so very much. So that impeded my enjoying my new insoles a little bit, but it was still a good time. I did read a bit more of The Hunter. I was actually hoping to finish this last night, but because it was so busy, I didn't quite make it all the way through. So I just hit about page 400, and we have like 460, so I'm nearly there. I have started not skim reading, but I've started just like reading for the dialogue and reading for the big points because I just want to be done, to be honest. I want to make it all the way through, but the reason is to mark it as read on Goodreads, not because I care deeply about this mystery or about these characters. And that feels terrible saying, but that's how I feel. I'll tell you all my final thoughts once I get done with this, but it's just not captivating my interests. So I talked about yesterday that I wanted to start a couple of pre-orders that were coming in the mail, and they have not showed up yet, which I'm really sad about. I'm hoping that they show up before I go to work tonight. But if not, I am going to read another long lister for the Women's Prize for Nonfiction, which is Agent Zoe by Claire Mully. When your tabs fall out on the floor. This is about a World War II resistance fighter, and I read the first like couple of pages when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to read next, and I was really, really enjoying the writing style. It seemed really gripping. It seemed like a slump buster of a book. So I'm going to try and finish this, and then if the pre-orders don't come in, which I'm not really thinking it's going to happen today, then I think I'm going to dive into this one next. So with that, I'm going to continue enjoying my little passion fruit LaCroix, enjoying the sunshine, go for a bit of a walk, and then back to work tonight for some more nighttime fun. I've had quite a lazy afternoon, which is what I wanted. And I am wearing clothes that are not pajamas, but feel like pajamas, which is also what I wanted. So last time I talked to you, I believe I was waiting for my pre-orders to come in, and against all odds, despite the slight delay, they eventually did come in. So I'd gotten 2 books that I was quite excited for. The first being Universality by Natasha Brown. This is one of my most anticipated releases for the first quarter of the year. It's a literary fiction book about a murder of a man that is bludgeoned with a gold bar. I've heard really excellent things about this, so I was very happy when this showed up. And then the one that I actually ended up going with is Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. I decided to not go with Agent Zoe because I felt like this long of a nonfiction maybe was asking for trouble when I'm in a reading slump and I just need something quick and digestible. So I decided to go ahead and pick up Broken Country, and so far really enjoying this. I have just massively raced through the first part of this book and I'm already on page 107 despite just really reading it for today. So this book is a murder mystery. It's set in a small farming town and initially started out in the 1960s, so 1968. This woman named Beth is our main character, and she is married to a man named Frank. They live in this small community in rural England, and at the beginning, you know that somebody has been murdered, but you don't quite know who, how, what the circumstances were, but you know that they're kind of not at the center of it, meaning like they're suspects, but that this person was somebody in the community and somebody that they knew. Then we go back into a kind of flashback time period, which is in the mid-1950s, and it follows Beth's teenage romance with a man named, forgetting his name, Gabriel. He is from a very wealthy background, unlike Beth, who is from a farming community, and they have this kind of whirlwind, spontaneous, a little insta-lovey, but everything in like in teenage life is so a little bit insta-lovey of a romance. And then the big kind of jumping off point is that you learn that Gabriel is actually moving back to this farming community in the 1960s timeline after he has been away for several years and he has recently got divorced. So, of course, because of the past romantic history between him and Beth, this kind of raises some tensions, some questions, and then in the background you also know that somebody has been murdered, but you're not quite sure like who and how all these characters are related to that. This book is very, very plotty, very short chapters. I quite literally just could not put it down. And yeah, so far I'm enjoying it massively. It's doing a good job of getting me out of a reading slump so far. And I think it was the right choice over something a bit more literary or something that's quite long and nonfiction. So I think this was the right choice. Still have a ways to go in this one. So excited to look into this a bit more tonight. I think I'm going to go swimming tonight. I don't particularly want to because it's raining and it's kind of gross outside, but I do feel like I've just been like rotting inside all day. And so I think I need to like get out of the house and do something a little active, which will make me feel better. But before I go to the pool, I'm going to read a bit more of Broken Country, try to make some more of a dent in it as I am really, really enjoying it. So I woke up to full-on snow this morning after being so excited about the weather and so excited about spring finally being here. I woke up in a great mood, went to go look out the window, and then then I just saw snow everywhere, and I was like, you know what? I give up. The weather's going to do what it's going to do, and I'm just going to live my life. And when it wants to be spring, it'll be spring. But I am very bummed out that I feel like the bulbs that have come up are going to die. And I just enjoyed reading outside so much yesterday, and I think it's going to be a while. My body hurts from going to the pool yesterday, but I do feel like it was a good idea. My brain feels good. And because of the colder weather, I just have been reading nonstop yesterday and today. Like, I just have wanted to do nothing but read. I ended up finishing Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall last night. Actually, this morning. I read most of it last night, but finished the last few pages this morning, and ended up giving this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. A little melodramatic at times. I really did not like the main character, but I think that was kind of the point. And yeah, it was just a solid, super plotty mystery book that will truly get you out of a reading slump if that is what you need in your life. And I discovered that this author actually has 2 new books coming out this year, which I don't really understand how that's even possible, but on the Simon & Schuster website, there are 2 books slotted for late August, early September with cover reveals and synopses. So I think it's happening. I am going to pre-order them because I really enjoyed this, and I'm kind of curious. This is a great debut. What I will say though about Broken Country is, while I loved it, it was more of a race to the end mystery thriller, not as much a sit with the characters mystery thriller. And so I was craving that, and I decided to pick up The Brutal Telling by Louise Penny. This is the 5th book, I want to say, in the Gamache series, and I say this every time, but every time I pick up one of these books, it feels like I'm coming home to sit with the characters, to walk around the square of Three Pines, to sit in the bistro, and just vibe, and I love it so much. Also, is there anything better than a description of food in a mystery book? Cozy mystery and really delicious sounding food, which is very prominent in the beginning few pages of this one. But basically, we are really at the heart of Three Pines, following characters that you know and love, and one of them, Olivier, is at the center of this murder investigation. So while some of the mysteries in this series are more you're going away to some kind of location, this one is very much at the heart of Three Pines, is getting at the people that you know and love. So it feels very high stakes. Really, really enjoying it so far. And I'm just on page 68, so still have quite a ways to go. But I'm going to read a bit more of this today, as it has just been the coziest, most joyful experience in this last little cold blip. I did actually get a book box today as well, which I couldn't resist. So I did open, but I knew what it was going to be. And it's a couple of books that I kind of spur of the moment purchased because I'd heard some really good things about them, and they finally came in the mail. Don't know if I'm going to read them right off the bat, but they sounded interesting. They sounded like things that I wanted to read sooner rather than later. So the first one was actually a recommendation from one of my closest friends, Charlotte. I'm actually in a in-person book club with her, and she read this recently and loved it. It's Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult. I read My Sister's Keeper way back in the day, but I haven't read anything else, I believe, by this author. And this one, I think, is a mystery book. Yeah, so it's about 2 characters. I think it's in a small New Hampshire town, and one of them shows up dead. And I think it's called Mad Honey because there's a beekeeping business involved in this story. So very much looking forward to that one. And then I also picked up The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue. Heard very excellent things about this. I don't like this cover. I want the turquoise one with the birds. I think it's the British cover. But this is about a World War II? One? Not sure. A nurse. And I've just heard excellent things about this. This author has also written a lot of other books, including Room, which I think is one of her most popular, but I haven't read any of them. So perhaps this will be a good start to her work. But I'm definitely going to make my way through Louise Penny before taking on too much. Otherwise, life-wise, I don't have too much else going on today. I think I'm going to just like have a bit of a cozy day. I do have to check on one of our neighbors' cats. I'm like the I'm like the neighborhood cat lady, and so when people go on vacation, they let me know and I go check on their cats, which is totally fine. I love it. But I'm gonna go check on their cat, whose name is Buck and is adorable. It's kind of like, I don't know, every time I get to see them, it's been a while, and so I get excited. So I'm gonna go do that, and then maybe pop over to the grocery store and pick up a few bits and bobs. But overall, should be a low-key day. I am running tonight. Gonna give the running shoes another spin. So far, I'm feeling good. I feel sore, but good sore, not like injured sore. So yeah, should be a pretty vibey and chill day. So it's currently Saturday night and I am just so tired. I had a whirlwind day at work. We had 16 babies in the newborn nursery today and all of them had slightly different issues. So it was just a long day. But thankfully everybody did okay. And going into tomorrow, it's actually daylight savings time. And so I kind of have one less hour of sleep tonight, which I'm not the most thrilled about. Also, happy International Women's Day. I wish I was doing something a bit more fun to celebrate than being at work all weekend, but I did enjoy seeing all of people's pictures on Instagram and seeing all the fun things that people did to celebrate. I think it's such a cool, special holiday that I wish I got to participate in a little bit more than I do. Yesterday, I went out with my friend Charlotte and we went to go get sushi happy hour, which was absolutely delicious. We ate so much sushi. And when we left this place, we were really full. But we went, we were walking down the street and we saw this little crepe place. And we both looked at each other. We're like, obviously. So that was a perfect way to end off a very fun night out. And then today has just been a very busy day at work. And yesterday morning, I don't think I talked to you guys about this either. So part of my job is working in the newborn nursery. And of course, thankfully, most kiddos do very well in the newborn nursery, meaning that they don't need any type of resuscitation. And honestly, I just kind of watch the newborn and make sure that they're doing okay. And I don't have to do a whole lot because they kind of take care of themselves. But on the rare occasion that something does happen, it doesn't happen very often. And so we have to go to different seminars, different training to keep up skills that we don't necessarily do all the time for good reason, because most kids are doing well. So I had that yesterday morning where we practiced all sorts of resuscitation and procedures and everything. And so that was a good refresh. And I always like kind of doing those things because it helps with my anxiety to know that I've had those skills pretty recently. Thankfully, nothing that I had to implement today at work, which was very nice because I was not in the mood for any of that.
But I had hoped sometimes when things are very chill and there aren't a lot of babies, I get to read little bits and bobs at work as, obviously I'm there. I don't get to leave the hospital. But if it's quiet, I've seen all the babies for the day. Sometimes I get to take a little break, read a couple pages. That did not happen today because it was very busy. So didn't make much more progress in the brutal telling. Currently on page 202, so just over the halfway point. I have to say, the middle point of this book is a bit slow. I'm feeling a bit slumpy with it. And I do think this one might be a little bit longer than the average Three Pines mystery. So I think that probably is a little bit of it, that there's some maybe fluff in the middle that doesn't need to be there. Although Three Pines fluff is good fluff. I really do enjoy, just sitting with the characters and enjoying, their banter with each other, enjoying seeing them walk around the little town. But I also do kind of have an expectation that in a mystery, we're going to be moving forward with things. It does feel that the middle of this is sitting with itself a little bit, just sitting still. I am going to try and read a couple more chapters of this before I head to bed. And to be honest, I want to actually be watching the Love is Blind finale and not be reading, but I don't have enough time to watch the whole episode. And so it makes sense that I should read a little bit of this book and then head to sleep so that I am nice and fresh for another busy day at work tomorrow. So hopefully, even if I can get like 50 pages through, it's a little bit less than what I like to read. I tend to like to read about 100 pages per day, but at least if I can do a little bit, I will be happy with that. So planning on that, planning on getting a little bit of, planning on going to sleep a little earlier because of daylight savings. And I will keep you posted if I'm able to miraculously finish this book before the end of this reading vlog, which is looking a little bit more unlikely based on how today goes, but you never know. Maybe tomorrow will be great and I will get to read a bit more and finish it up tomorrow night. Shadowy, so apologize if it's a little bit off, but I have just popped in to wrap up this weekly reading vlog and chat about what I made it through. Spoiler, it wasn't a whole lot, to be honest with you. This weekend was just so exhausting at work. It was a marathon and I just did not feel particularly motivated to get a lot of reading done when I got home, which is fine. So I did not read a whole lot more of the Louise Penny book, so I don't have too many more thoughts. But I do want to wrap up everything else that I read, give you all my final ratings, and just make sure that I chatted about everything that I finally got through this week. First off, I hauled 2 books that I showed you guys. There are a couple of other things here and there that I picked up that I'll probably put in a haul at some point. But those books were Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult, which I'll probably pick up in a reading vlog here soon, as well as The Pull of the Stars by Emma Donoghue, both paperback editions of those. And I ended up finishing 2 books. First was Tana French's The Hunter. I realized I don't think I ever completely wrapped up my thoughts of this. They did not change massively. I just felt that this was far too long and it really lost my interest. I wasn't particularly interested in the murder mystery or in the crime, and it just dragged on and on and on. I gave this 2 stars. Not sure if I will continue on with the series. We'll have to see if the next book has a mystery that really captivates me. Then I read Broken Country by Claire Lizzie Hall from cover to cover this week. And I ended up giving this one a 4 stars. Very, very much enjoyed it. And finally, I am in the middle of The Brutal Telling by Louise Penny.
about halfway through still. So hoping to finish this one up next week. So far, enjoying this one, but my opinions are still kind of out there on that. And the whole stack is falling on the floor. So if you made it till the end of the video, leave me a spring flower or some sort of flower, as that is what I'm hoping for in next week's video, if we can make it. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.